Good afternoon, and welcome to Culinary Chronicles. So today we're going to be going through and we're going to be making some pork short ribs. So these are St. Louis style, so they're cut a little bit different than a normal short rib. The pork short rib comes from the ribs just below the loin. So like if you get like a bone-in pork chop or even just a pork loin, it'll be the section of ribs just below that on the animal. So today as we go through, we're going to be starting off with doing our rubs. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using olive oil as a binder. The olive oil will allow us to have this kind of layer for our dry rub to attach to. And so what I did was yesterday I took these out of the packages, patted them dry, put a little bit of salt on them, and left them in the fridge out in the open air to dry brine. This helps accent the flavors. It helps get more of that seasoning inside the meat. And so this is actually a technique I really enjoy. So as we gonna go ahead and do the binder, just so I'm gonna go ahead and get that on there real quick. It doesn't take much, just a little bit of olive oil, a couple teaspoons really. I'm gonna go ahead and get that all mixed on. If you notice, I probably am running this all over my table because my cut board is just a little small for 3 racks of ribs. I'm gonna go ahead and flip over. I got enough oil. Just do both sides of both racks of ribs. Actually have a little bit left on this side. I did already take the silver skin off, so with your ribs you will want to check to make sure that there's not a silver skin. It's just kind of a layer of tissue, a kind of membrane that is naturally on the meat that is tough and doesn't really help make the ribs fall apart tender as you would like. So now once we get all of the binder on, got these nice and coated, now we're going to do our dry rub next. So we got 2 cups of brown sugar. We're going to add in 2 teaspoons of salt. If you notice on the camera, there seems to be something falling, so we're getting grapple right now. Yesterday we got about 8 inches of snow, and last night we got another 2. And instead of the sunny weather today, we're going to be getting some grapple, which is snow that the wind pushes back up in the cloud and as it falls, and so it comes down as a form of hail. So once we get the salt, then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of pepper. I'm going to add in a 1/4 cup of Cajun seasoning. So as the title says, this is a sweet heat rub. So we have a brown sugar base, but then we have a couple items that are going to add us some heat and extra flavor with it. So we're going to go ahead and add in 1/8 of a cup of dry red peppers. And then we're going to add an 1/8 cup of garlic, 1/4 cup of mustard, and a 1/4 cup of dry minced onion. So we're going to just go ahead and toss all this together. I'm going to just use my hand for this. My hands are already clean, and might as well go ahead and get it all mixed in nice and thoroughly. So as you'll see, sometimes the brown sugar does what brown sugar does. It clumps up. We've got quite a bit there, and this is definitely a dry rub. There's really nothing that's going to hold it except for the moisture of the ribs and the oil that we added. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start putting this on. We're going to go kind of heavy with what we put on there. Spread it around with our hand. Flip this on over already because it's going to be our end stop here in a moment. And once I use this and I start putting it on, I'm going to be touching meat and touching the rub, so I'm going to toss out whatever's left of this rub just to be safe food-wise. Nothing like having a little bit of cross-contamination in the kitchen. So then, as we just go ahead and sprinkle on, you don't have to worry about it sticking too much to the bone side. The problem with if it sticks too much on there, it really doesn't help the flavor. It just kind of adds a crunch. So as we go ahead and add more, main side to focus on is the meat side, and you'll notice it just seems to disappear with that brown sugar. The good news is as we cook it, the brown sugar will caramelize and add a good crust to it. And so this today, we're going to cook this what some people call the 3-2-1 method. It's going to be 3 hours of open smoke at 225. Then we're going to wrap it for 2 hours. And once we wrap it for 2 hours, we're going to put in some apple juice and some butter just to help give it some extra flavor. That apple flavor with pork is by far my favorite. I like that sweet heat. I like that. I like the sweet heat, but I also like a little bit of apple. And so we do have quite a bit of our rub left. So what we'll do is we'll actually sprinkle that in with the foil when we do it. After it goes in for 2 hours wrapped in foil, we will then pull it out of the smoker, cover it in our own barbecue sauce, and put it in at 250 for 1 hour, just to get that nice tacky barbecue sauce covering, and also to finish it up. And it should be nearly fall apart tender at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and get these ready. I'm going to get my hands cleaned off real quick, and then we'll get these in the smoker. Now welcome back. So we're at our 3 hour mark, so it's time to go ahead and start wrapping our ribs. So what we're going to do with these is I've decided to go with an apple cider today instead of an apple juice. It's sweet enough. This is apple cider, a hard apple cider beverage it's sweet. It'll work well, and it also provides that cider that we're kind of looking for, that I like. And then we're going to have our rub. We're going to add some of that, and we're going to add I'd say about 4 tablespoons of butter per a rack of ribs. So we're going to go ahead and pull the first rack out of the smoker. Had some pellets get wet in the snow and everything, and so you got a little bit of dirty smoke occasionally. Good news is it clears out quickly once you open the door, and it starts burning clean and good again. So I'm going to use these gloves here so that I don't have burns. Safety first. And grab it. So I like to do this one rack of ribs at a time, keeping the smoker somewhat closed so that we don't lose too much heat. And so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to go ahead, sprinkle down some of our lovely rub. I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons of butter across the top. And then I'm going to make a boat with this so we don't lose too much of this liquid on the table. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do about half a cup, about half a cup per rack of ribs. It's going to add some good juice. We don't want to do too much, we don't want to make it soupy. So I'm going to go ahead and fold in my sides, grab my ends, fold them up like that. Make sure they're nice closed up. I'll move the rack real quick. Grab me some more foil. I like to double wrap these to keep them from leaking, keep our juices in. And I'm actually going to flip it upside down and do our second wrap. Just like that. It's not completely airtight, but it will work for what we're going to use it for. So this rack will now go back in the smoker. We're going to get our other 2 racks out, one at a time. And once we get these ribs going in, wrapped, we're going to run them for about 2 hours. This is going to let that juice penetrate nice and well. It's going to tender it up quite a bit. And then in about 2 hours, we're going to pull them out. We're going to cover them in our barbecue sauce, which there is a video up on the channel showing our new barbecue sauce recipe. It's just a basic barbecue sauce, nothing too special. But if you'd like to see that, there will be a link in the description for that video. So we're going to coat these and let them go for another hour. So for the 2 hour cook, we're going to keep it at 225, but for our last cook with the barbecue sauce, we're going to kick it up to 250. Alright, welcome back to Culinary Chronicles. As I stated earlier, we're going to show you how to get these, what we do with the sauce. So first we get our ribs opened up, pull out our meat, and you see a nice good done meat. Take this off for right now. Let's pull it up. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take our sauce. I'm going to just start by spooning it on, just to get a nice amount on the meat. Then we're going to take our brush. It's going to have quite a bit on there. I'm going to go ahead and coat it. So this side I don't care as much because it is the bone side, so we're going to flip it over and do the other side. So the plan is to do this in a way that gets us a nice, good coating, so that when we put it back here in the smoker here in a moment, it's going to give us a good, tacky layer of sauce once this sauce wraps up. Opening and closing the smoker is giving us dirty smoke. So go ahead and get this one back in. Alright, so we've hit that hour mark. We're now actually done. These ribs are now done and ready to pull from the smoker. So let's go ahead and get that done. But first, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for watching all the way through. If you don't mind, subscribe, like, leave a comment. We will be posting. The goal is to post one video a week. There will be some weeks that we'll do a double post. Main goal is at least a video every Tuesday, and if we're able to, we're also planning to hit it every other Thursday, or at least one Thursday a month. So if you turn on that notification bell, you'll see it every time we post. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get these pulled out. I'm going to leave the smoker running for a little bit. I need to get some pellets out of it, because my next thing is going to be moving to a different type of pellet. This pellet we use this time is the Pit Boss apple, and next week I'm hoping to do something with a bourbon barrel oak. So it's pellets made out of old bourbon barrels. So it's going to be an oak wood with good extra flavor. So now, go ahead and pull this first rack out. Good news is it held together. Bad news is it held together. So we're going to go ahead and cut into this and see how it looks. You notice I did close the smoker. It's blowing in my face. So we'll just go ahead and cut right here on this first rib. I do love that Victorinox. I kind of cut through a bone and it still cut good. Nice, good pink smoke ring. Lots of juice. Let's take off these gloves and try this out and see what we think. And hopefully we'll catch you on the next time.